Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Rachel Williams begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A 30-year-old man has pleaded not guilty to murder as he faced an out-of-hours court sitting today. Shannon James Duffy is accused of fatally shooting Jared Lee Turner by the side of a road at Richmond last weekend. Michael Breen has this report.
Two people faced an out-of-hours session of the Hobart Magistrates Court this morning, charged in relation to the death of Jared Lee Turner. The 22-year-old's body was discovered by the side of a road at Richmond last Sunday with a gunshot wound. 1 week on, 30-year-old Shannon James Duffy has been charged with murder. Appearing briefly in court, his lawyer indicated he's pleading not guilty and he didn't apply for bail. The magistrate committing the matter to the Supreme Court in July. A 22-year-old woman also appeared, charged with failing to report a killing and being an accessory after the fact to murder. Gemma Rumley Cantrell didn't enter a plea and was granted bail with conditions. She's been ordered to appear in court again late next month and has been told she must enter a plea at that stage. Friends and family of Mr Turner are due to farewell him at a funeral in Mornington tomorrow.
A 45-year-old Devonport woman remains in a serious but stable condition at the Royal Hobart Hospital tonight after falling from near the top of Parsons Falls near Lake Mackenzie yesterday afternoon. The woman was visiting the popular tourist spot with her husband and children when she slipped and fell, ending up in the pool at the base of the falls. She was then winched to safety by the Westpac rescue helicopter and transported to the RHH with facial and other injuries. Labor is pushing for more urgent action to fix pressures on the health system. The state government announced yesterday it's brought forward a summit with the Australasian College of Emergency Medicine to help find solutions to overcrowding. The meeting will be held in June, but Labor says solutions are needed sooner.
They need to start taking action now because we are heading into winter, we are heading into flu season. It is the busiest time of year for the hospital. The hospital is already struggling to cope. It is at level 4 escalation again today.
The state government says emergency admissions have risen by 21% over 3 years, and despite its record investments in health, more does need to be done. A fight is brewing over the future of the Freycinet National Park, with calls to limit the number of visitors. A meeting of more than 250 locals and shack owners today rejecting a proposed master plan for the area.
Tourists jostle for a spot, enjoying another sun-drenched day in Coles Bay. 2 blocks away, it's a similar story in a packed community hall, but not everyone is happy.
I think we need to limit numbers and seriously consider how many people can that be a good experience for.
Locals and shack owners are worried about surging visitor numbers, increased development and a buckling sewerage system.
There are a number of places in Coles Bay at the moment that are listed on Airbnb as having been able to cater for 10 people, and that is absolutely ridiculous.
A state government master plan for the Freycinet National Park has been drafted. Key aims include a new visitor gateway and shuttle buses to reduce traffic. Wastewater management is also a priority, but those at the meeting voted to reject the plan until a study is done on the park's visitor capacity.
Seems to enable an industrialisation of the Bay of Coles Bay.
Personally, my love for the National Park, I hate to see it in the overcrowded and the environmental destruction that's happening. But in saying that, the master plan has great benefits to grow my business.
We should halt the master plan until we work out what's the carrying capacity. So therefore you work out what size of car parks you need. And at the moment there's definitely a feel that there's too many visitors all at once.
To get an idea just how busy it can get in Coles Bay, this Easter weekend the cafes are full and finding a car park, well, that's nearly impossible. Other motions passed included no new infrastructure in front of the park and a ban on heli tourism. Those who call Coles Bay home, albeit from a shack, say they want to save the town before it's too late.
The problems of the sewerage and the number of people and the parking. I mean, it's chaos over Easter.
It's not that we don't want no change, but really there does appear to be absolutely no management or foresight into actually where this is all going.
Submissions for the master plan close on Friday. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart Airport is celebrating a green milestone on its mission to become carbon neutral. The facility has achieved a Level 2 airport carbon accreditation by optimising energy and water use, fuel consumption and waste generation. It has another 2 levels to go until it's certified as carbon neutral. There's currently 49 airports across the world that have reached the top status.
A carbon neutral airport has a neutral footprint on the environment, so they know what their carbon emissions are, they know how to reduce them, they can guide and influence others on airport.
The airport's accreditation doesn't take into account emissions from aircraft. There will be a long wait for Metro buses in Hobart tomorrow afternoon, with drivers walking off the job again as they fight for better pay and conditions. Metro says it will force the cancellation of 570 services between 3 and 7 p.m. in the Greater Hobart region. Some services surrounding those times will also be affected. The union says drivers have chosen to take the action during the quieter Easter school holiday period.
The votes are in for the RACT Insurance Player of the Year in the TSL after round 3, with former Hawthorn recruit Kieran Lovell judged best on ground in Kingborough's first win of the season over North Hobart. Blues co-captain Joby Harper earned the votes at Windsor Park despite his side going down by 32 points to North Launceston. And Lauderdale midfielder Bryce Walsh was the standout in the Bombers' hard-fought win over Clarence at Blunston Arena. To the leaderboard, and Glenorchy goal magnet Aidan Grace remains on top, 1 vote clear of Harper and McGuinness. Hobart sailor Jock Calvert's case for selection in the Australian team for next year's Olympics have been strengthened after the 21-year-old took out the Finn class medal race at the Genoa World Cup sailing event in Italy. Calvert led the fleet from start to finish, with the results seeing him finish 6th overall after the final day of racing. His next event will be in a few weeks' time at the Finn European Championships in Athens. Triathlete Cameron Worth's rise on the world stage has continued, with the Tasmanian taking out the Cannes International Triathlon in France today, consisting of a 2-kilometre swim, a 107-kilometre cycle and a 16-kilometre run. The 35-year-old utilised his strength on the bike to take control of the race before crossing the finish line at 2 minutes ahead of Great Britain's Tim Don. Back home, and it's been a huge day for Clarence United, with the club recording its first win for the NPL season following a horror start to the year, while Hobart Zebras booted their way into title contention with an upset victory over Devonport. Not only were Clarence winless after 8 rounds of action, but the side has had a whopping 59 goals scored against them throughout those matches, with many questioning whether they belong in the state's premier competition. Up against fellow newcomers Riverside at Wentworth Park this afternoon, things got off to a slow start, with neither side threatening in front of the net in the first half. But minutes into the second, United were finally able to shake the monkey off the back, courtesy of a penalty, as Lachlan Burt put through the side's very first goal for the season to see Clarence record its first win of 2019. Things were far more competitive at KG5 between competition heavyweights Kingborough and Devonport, with the Zebras striking just 7 minutes into the match. Matthew Sanders finding the back of the net shortly after to give the home side a 2-goal buffer. The ladder leaders then capitalising on a corner just before the break to narrow the gap, but a goalless second half saw Hobart dish Devonport its first loss of the season.
Good evening. 19 was a popular temperature today across Hobart, Launceston and Devonport, and a high of 18 for Burnie. Other centres today, 18 across Flinders Island, Smithton and Ouse, Strawn and Low Head 17, a high of 20 at Friendly Beaches and Lyweenie 13. On the close-up, low-level cloud over the west, south and parts of the northeast of the state. Mid to high-level cloud is also seen moving off the east coast. On the satellite, a trough across Queensland and New South Wales is causing extensive thunderstorms in the southwest Queensland. Mid to high level cloud and a cold front is also extending from the mainland to the east coast of Tasmania. Tomorrow, a high pressure ridge is running across southern Australia and a surface trough extends through inland eastern Australia. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, reaching 25 knots about the south. Swells up to 2 metres in the west and south and below a metre in the east. Tomorrow's forecast now, and Hobart and Adventure Bay partly cloudy, 15 in Tarraleah. In the north, a sunny day in Launceston and Bridport, 18 in Devonport. Burnie and Marrawar tomorrow looking partly cloudy and showers developing for Strawn. Possible early showers in St Helens tomorrow, Swansea 20 and a high of 18 in Whitemark. Looking to the 3-day forecast now, Wednesday showers about the northwest and far south in the late evening, fine elsewhere. Thursday fine apart from showers across the northwest and far south. And finally Friday showers across the state with snow falling above 700 metres about the west and south. Capital cities Perth and Adelaide tomorrow sunny, 27 in Alice Springs and Brisbane, a shower or two for Sydney and Cairns, and Melbourne cloudy reaching a high of 19. And onto current temperatures, Hobart 14, Launceston and Devonport both clear with a high of 13. That's all in weather tonight. Back to you, Rach.
Thanks for that, Jackie. Well, that's all your news for now. I'll be back a little later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.